What if I told you that one simple red cross on a white flag carries over 1,000 years of battles, faith, and legend? That this very symbol, once painted on the shields of medieval knights, still waves proudly today over stadiums, castles, and cathedrals across England. It's more than just fabric. It's a story of courage, crusades, and the spirit of a nation. Welcome to History Hive, where the past comes alive, and every symbol has a story buzzing beneath its surface. Today, we read diving deep into the England flag, the legendary St. George's Cross, to uncover how a warrior saint, a dragon-slaying myth, and a kingdom's pride all came together to create one of the world's most iconic flags. So grab your curiosity, hit that subscribe button, and let's journey back in time to the age of knights, kings, and the birth of England's Red Cross. Today, I am going to talk about one of the most iconic and enduring symbols of England, the England flag. Also known as the St. George's Cross. At first glance, it seems simple, a bold red cross on a white background. But behind that simplicity, a rich history of faith, war, identity, and national pride. This flag has flown on battlefields, in royal processions, and at international sporting events. It's a flag that has represented courage, sacrifice, and the spirit of England for nearly 1,000 years. So, let's dive deep into the fascinating journey of how this flag came to be, what it represents, and how it continues to inspire people today. The origins. Who was St. George? To understand the flag, we must first understand the man behind the cross, St. George. St. George was not English by birth. He was a Roman soldier, believed to have been born in Cappadocia, an area that is now part of modern-day Turkey, around the 3rd century AD. According to legend, St. George was a Christian martyr who stood up for his faith during the reign of the Roman Emperor Diocletian, a time when Christians were heavily persecuted. George refused to renounce his Christian beliefs, and for that, he was tortured and executed. But over time, his story became legendary, especially one tale, the story of St. George and the dragon. In this famous legend, St. George rescues a princess from a dragon that terrorized her town. He slays the dragon, saving the people, and in return, they convert to Christianity. This powerful image of bravery, faith, and victory over evil spread across Europe. By the Middle Ages, St. George had become one of the most venerated saints in Christendom, symbolizing courage and righteousness. The birth of the St. George's Cross, the red cross on a white background, what we now call the St. George's Cross, first appeared in the 12th century. It was originally used by Crusaders, knights who took part in religious wars to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control. These warriors needed a symbol to identify themselves on the battlefield, and a red cross on white became one of those early emblems of Christian soldiers. Around the same time, the city of Genoa, a powerful maritime republic in Italy, adopted the red cross on white as its flag. The Genoese fleet was one of the strongest in the Mediterranean, and their ships were feared and respected. By the 13th century, England adopted the same symbol, partly inspired by Genoa's flag. English ships sailing in the Mediterranean even used the Genoese flag for protection, paying a tax to the Republic of Genoa so they could fly it and avoid attacks. Eventually, the cross became closely associated with England itself, and St. George was chosen as the patron saint of England. St. George becomes England's symbol during the reign of King Edward III in the 14th century. St. George's popularity in England reached new heights. Edward III founded the Order of the Garter, one of the oldest and most prestigious orders of chivalry in the world, and dedicated it to St. George. From then on, St. George's Cross was not just a Crusader emblem, it became the national emblem of English knights. It flew in battle, in tournaments, and on royal banners. During the 100 Years' War against France, English soldiers wore the red cross on their surcoats, the outer garment over their armor. This gave rise to the term the Red Cross Men. By this time, the red cross on a white field had become inseparable from English identity, a mark of valor, faith, and loyalty to the crown. The flag through the ages. As centuries passed, the St. George's Cross continued to evolve in meaning. During the Tudor period, it remained a royal and military emblem. Then, in 1603, a major turning point came when James VI of Scotland became James I of England, uniting the two crowns. To symbolize this new union, a new flag was created in 1606, combining the red cross of St. George with the white saltire diagonal cross of St. Andrew, Scotland's patron saint. This combination became the first version of the Union flag, the ancestor of what we now know as the Union Jack. However, even after this merger, the St. George's Cross continued to represent England alone, while the Union Jack represented the entire United Kingdom. In modern times, whenever England competes as its own nation, such as in football or rugby, it is the St. George's Cross that flies, not the Union Jack. The flag in modern England today, the flag of St. George, is instantly recognizable, especially during international sporting events. Every 4 years, during the FIFA World Cup or the UEFA European Championships, you'll see a sea of red and white across English cities. Cars, houses, and streets are decorated with the flag, showing support for the England football team. It has become a unifying symbol of pride, passion, and hope, a flag that connects millions of fans. Beyond sports, it's also flown on St. George's Day, which is celebrated on April 23rd each year. On this day, many towns and villages across England hold parades, services, and festivals to honor their patron saint. Yet, the flag's modern story ain't without controversy. In the late 20th century, some groups misused the flag to promote division or nationalism, causing many people to hesitate to display it. However, over recent decades, efforts have been made to reclaim the flag's true meaning, one of unity, heritage, and shared identity. Today, it once again stands as a proud and positive emblem of English culture, symbolism, and meaning. Let's take a closer look at what the flag actually represents. The white background stands for purity and peace. The red cross represents courage, sacrifice, and faith, qualities associated with St. George himself. Together, they symbolize the ideal of righteousness triumphing over evil, echoing the ancient legend of St. George and the Dragon. On a deeper level, the flag reflects England's historical values, bravery in the face of danger, moral integrity, and the defense of justice. It's not just a national symbol, it's a moral emblem that connects centuries of English tradition. The flag in other places. Interestingly, the St. George's Cross doesn't belong only to England. Several other nations and regions have adopted similar designs because of their historical connection to St. George. For example, the flag of Georgia, the country in Eastern Europe, features 5 red crosses on white. The flag of Barcelona and the region of Catalonia in Spain also incorporates the red cross of St. George. Many cities that were once part of the British Empire or influenced by English culture use variations of the St. George's Cross. This shows how far the symbol's influence has spread. From medieval Europe to the modern world, the flag's role in the Union Jack. It's also worth understanding how the St. George's Cross fits into the Union Jack, the flag of the United Kingdom. The Union Jack combines 3 different flags: the St. George's Cross for England, the St. Andrew's Cross white on blue for Scotland, the St. Patrick's Cross red diagonal for Ireland. When these were combined in 1801, the result was the modern Union Jack. So, the St. George's Cross is literally at the heart of the Union Jack, forming its central red cross. This reminds us that the English flag isn't just a national emblem. It is a foundational piece of the United Kingdom's identity. Respect and protocol. The flag of St. George is treated with great respect in England. There are official guidelines on how it should be displayed. It should never touch the ground. It should be flown upright, with the cross extending to the edges. When flown with the Union Jack takes precedence, the national flag of the UK. Public buildings often fly the St. George's Cross on St. George's Day, and sometimes during major sporting or national events. Schools and councils also use it as a teaching symbol, not just of patriotism, but of England's long and complex history. The England flag today and tomorrow today, the England flag continues to evolve in meaning. It is no longer just a symbol of the past. It is a living emblem of modern England's diversity, pride, and unity. When people wave the flag at sporting events or national celebrations, they are not just cheering for a team or a country. They are celebrating a shared heritage that has survived wars, political change, and centuries of transformation. The flag connects the medieval knights of the Crusades with the modern citizens of England. It is a reminder that symbols endure because of the meanings people give them, and that every generation can redefine what their flag stands for. Today, it stands for hope, courage, respect, and belonging. Let's reflect on what the flag of England truly represents. It's not just a red cross on white. It's the story of a soldier who became a saint, a nation that found identity through faith and valor, and a symbol that continues to unite millions. From the dusty fields of medieval Europe to the roaring stadiums of today, the St. George's Cross has carried the spirit of England through every challenge and triumph. It teaches us that a flag is more than fabric, it's a living story, woven with the threads of courage, history, and pride. So next time you see the red cross flying high, remember, you're not just looking at a flag, you're witnessing 1,000 years of English legacy. Thank you. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to History Hive, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another journey into the past. Here at History Hive, we bring the stories of our world's greatest symbols, events, and heroes to life, one episode at a time. Now tell us in the comments below, what does the St. George's Cross mean to you, and which flag or legend should we explore next? Thanks for watching, and remember, every piece of history has a story to tell, and you'll find it right here, in the Hive. This is History Hive, where the past comes alive.